Okay, motion for the proof of publication and affidavit. I think we had a motion from Larry.
From Jack.
And so from Jack.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, the petition we have this evening is from Kevin and Missy Burkholder, requesting a site plan review for a new building at 1418 Yorkshire Drive, Decatur, City Code Reference, Section 150.235, Procedures for Site Plan Review. So the applicant would like to make a presentation, and we'll turn it over to you.
Brett Miller, MLS Engineering, along with owner Kevin Burkholder. So what Kevin and Missy are looking to do is construct a 32 by 48, 1,500 square foot pole barn on a half acre they purchased there on Yorkshire Drive. They purchased a half acre. They're looking to construct this on the east half of that half acre, leaving the west portion open for something in the future. Nothing planned now, just going to keep it as grass as it sits today. The building's going to be used for personal use, storage, and just basically just personal use. There would be a gravel driveway out to Yorkshire and a little basically parking in front of the man doors that are a side load type building. So that's what we've seen from the Yorkshire, I believe, probably were submitted elevations of the building. That's part of the packet, and possibly so you'll see what they're proposing to do. There will be a bathroom in the building, so there'll be new sewer and water. Early conversations that they have had with Verlin on the sewer tap was to use the existing sewer tap that services the Essential Needs building, get an easement from them, and then bring a new sewer from their building into their service tap. They have a verbal agreement from them. If the board and Berlin confirms that, what that does is it saves them from either boring or open cutting Yorkshire Drive with a new tap. So that's up to you guys' approval, I guess, along with Berlin. But I know initial conversations with Berlin that he was okay with that. The water tap is right along the north side of Yorkshire, so that's not, a big a deal if you get new service water. Kevin had met with Dwight Pierce and basically did a verbal that he would plant a tree and a couple bushes to satisfy him on the half of the lot that's being developed. I think there's been comments about a sidewalk along Yorkshire, and the owner would prefer not to install a sidewalk. That's pretty much all I have. If there's anything that we would entertain questions or comments that you guys have.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
What can we assume personal use is?
Same thing, a lot of people got in their garages at home, maybe a car, a boat, tools, lawn and garden, just personal storage, personal use. You can pretty much, probably no more or less than what you've got in your garage, I would assume.
But not working on...
No, I'm not working on anything, no, just, we recently moved out of our old place, which that's where my building was at, so I just need another place to take my stuff, my belongings.
Okay, any other questions from commission members?
I guess, Kevin, I'm going to be the stinker in this whole group. You're going to need sidewalks, especially at that location. There's sidewalks all around you. And I really feel you're going to need a paved parking lot also, and paved parking. There again, I think it's the location. Everybody around that area has that. I guess if you were in a different location, it would come to play different. to me. I'm only one voice. But,
Well, like that being said, for sidewalks, there's no sidewalk from the last residential place there in Winchester to the corner on
No,
that side of the road.
that would be,
There's also none on the other side of the road. So if I'm only going to develop half of it, I mean, I don't see why I need to run,
you're going to be next to a resident right there?
next to the essential needs, and there's no sidewalk there. And there's a stone driveway behind the essential needs and a stone parking lot right behind the essential needs that goes up, so.
Well, okay, that may be the case, and in similar situations, what we've done is, I guess I brought it up, and when that comes into play, you know, we may be at that point have to insist that you do it. I mean, that's another approach also. I don't know what all the other board members feel, but, I mean, it should be noted that sidewalks are needed, and also paved drives and paved parking are needed. Maybe at a future date.
Well, I thought at a future, if it should become a business of some sort, but right now I'm proposing it's not. It's just, it is what it is. It's a 32 to 48 structure.
Any other questions from board members?
But I don't believe there's any sidewalks on Yorkshire now.
Well, there is.
There is.
Winchester State is,
But it starts where the residential area is.
right, but we need to continue those on through
And these lots are
next to them.
next to them then.
Yeah,
Be behind Dr. Barron's old office.
correct.
Brett, you said that Verlin said it was okay to do the sewer tap by connecting into essential needs. But I thought, and maybe I misread it, I thought I saw somewhere where department heads had said that should be a directional bore under Yorkshire. Did I see that or not?
No, you saw that, and I think Kevin was trying to, I don't want to speak for Kevin.
I met with him out there then. My first conversation was with Berlin at the site. Is there a tap here? He didn't know. So he ran a camera down through there and he said he does not see a tap. So, but what he did say was, there's a 6-inch right over here going up to the central east. He said, the Odyssey, you can't get permission from them to look into that. That was our first conversation. So I've done that. They've given us permission, verbal permission to do so. It's that, or like say going underneath the street or cutting through the street one way to get over to sewer, which is on the other side, which is going to incur a lot more cost. It's going to make it not cost effective for me to do what I want to do if I got to keep throwing money.
I believe Berlin was on vacation last week.
Right,
They
yeah.
weren't able to confirm. Once I received the comment letter, and I don't know.
I was going to say, I don't know which came first. Did the conversation with Verlin come after this?
No, that came first.
It was
Came
the first.
first.
Yeah, 'cause I
Well,
met with
we got it both from Jeremy and Dan,
Yeah, I met with-
Utility Department.
I met with them, they're right.
Yeah, they went out and met.
Yeah, so I met them on site, we discussed it, I said, this is what, we discussed, and they said they would talk with Berlin and get back with me, but I haven't heard.
Yeah, I didn't hear what the results of that were, but I just know in the past when we've had, people using the same sewer line, if there ever was an issue, they neither one of them want to take responsibility and ended up being the city's fault. If everybody's got their own tap, that problem goes away. Is what the utility company was getting at. And I think Jeremy was liking to see it bored just for the fact that they didn't tear up the new street.
Yeah, he made a comment to me about that too, I know, so. I know it's more expensive.
Timing's everything there. I had that thing in a month ago,
Or 30 years ago,
and, yeah, 30 years ago.
when it was put in.
other questions, comments?
I guess on the sewer tap comment, if I may, I guess I'd prefer to work that out with the department head and whatever they would be satisfied. If you guys are happy, if the department head is happy, we would end up doing whatever they would come to that conclusion. I don't want you guys to say for it. If Jeremy came tomorrow and Butcher and said, no, we were okay with this other than easement, I guess is what I'm getting at.
So what you're saying, Brett, is you're okay with the Plan Commission approving the site plans and the proposed sewer tap, subject to the approval of the street department, the sewer department, the water department. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if they all agree that it's okay to tie in, and you have the permission from Essential Needs to do that, then...
We've already gotten verbal permission.
If you, if it does happen to go that way, we'd like an easement recorded and get the proper documentation.
Yeah, it would need to be documented.
And that's all on the drawing, I believe.
And probably as much for your benefit as anything, Kevin, you may want to have some kind of an agreement worked out
Right.
so that it's clear who's responsible for maintenance and repairs if there's a problem with that sewer tap. Otherwise, you'll get into the situation Roger described.
Right. Well, like I say, it's 6 inch. The capacity's plenty big enough.
Anyone else from the board have any questions? And then we'll go on then to people, if there's anyone here to speak in opposition. Seeing no one, we'll move on to anyone who wishes to speak in favor. And seeing no one.
Is it an agreement that they're going to have sidewalks, or did anybody?
I think you probably want to put that in to conditions. I mean, if the board kind of agrees with me, isn't that the proper place to put it in, Tim?
You can include conditions to the approval.
Right.
So I guess the issue, and that's the thing that I would ask is, are you saying that when would there be a potential responsibility of Kevin and Missy to put sidewalks in? What triggers that?
I think when the other areas new develop.
So like the other part of the property, if it's going to be developed at that time?
Yeah, until they, you don't want to put it in really until they decide where they want their curb cut. And that way you can, depending on what kind of development it is, you might want a little thicker in through there where the curb cut is, where the walk, so it don't get all broke up. We like to see concrete from the, at least from the street to the back side of the walk, so you're not dragging stone out on the street. He said gives a little bit of a chance for it to stay up there.
So you want concrete from the street, from the curb 10 foot in.
Yeah, wherever that front property line is, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so,
Then the sidewalk sits on
On that, in that
the street side of the right property line,
Right.
right?
okay, now I'm confused about something. Is that only when you put the sidewalks in, you're talking about doing the 10-foot in, or are you doing that
Just when
now?
they do the curb cut.
The curb cut now?
He puts his driveway in, he needs to go in.
Okay,
And that should be done now.
okay,
That should be done now.
right, but
Yeah, right.
then, okay, then with regard to a sidewalk, in the event that the other portion of the property is developed for whatever purpose, at that time, then Kevin and Missy would be responsible for putting sidewalks in?
Mhm.
Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that other one isn't developed yet, so you don't have to go across that one yet till decide what's going on there.
Right.
You might sell it and you let the next guy worry about putting the walks in.
Well, I say right now, to put them in, I mean, it's just dead ends and they go nowhere.
Well, and that,
Kevin, just to point out my point, and we've had this happen numerous times in previous plans that the sidewalks were totally omitted, totally forgotten, only because no other sidewalks were there.
Right.
And then we came back and started developing that area, and all of a sudden, hey, we need sidewalks. And then you go back to the person that was in the original plan and ask him to put sidewalks in. Hey, you didn't tell us then, so we get a little friction,
Right, I can see that.
if you know what I mean, where I'm coming from.
But I think we're still, there, that if I do something good, then I'm committed to put those sidewalks there.
I'd rather have that within our discussions, so that when it comes back to you, it's no surprise. I mean,
I agree with that.
in previous times that's happened, and it's worked out well, so,
Okay, so one thing that I would, because you can do it one or two ways, but with regard to the sidewalks, one of the conditions of approving the site plans would be that in the event the west half of this property is subsequently developed, at that time, the sidewalks would need to be installed by the owners of the property. And if you transfer ownership of the property, then that needs to be a covenant in the deed itself, so it's clear to the prospective buyer of the property that that's an obligation they assume by taking title. Okay?
Yeah, so really you need sidewalks, concrete up from your curb cut, a little bit of landscaping there, and then wherever they decide with the
Sewer tap.
sewer tap.
Is there any landscaping required?
Yeah, that's like I said, you talk to some guy or somebody, ain't gonna take much.
You need a tree
Building,
out
the
front.
part of the building that faces the street, we put across there.
do you
You
want
got
to,
green space, you got grass, you got,
Roger, for example, as Kevin said, if he would sell it to a business or a business would come into play, do we want to note anything about paid parking? I know in past we don't want a business to operate and, like you said, pull stones out in the street or...
well, our ordinance actually got a portion in there, could be paved after a year's time, it's supposed to be paved within a year. So, yeah, if something would happen to go in there, that should be it. You need to get it covered, I'm sure.
I think if that could be a line item on the minutes, would help cover
Yeah.
that it was at least mentioned, that way if something, an issue would arise, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
that would
Probably what we'll do is we'll do, if the Plan Commission approves the site plans, it will be with certain conditions, and that would be included as, if in the event it's used for business purposes, the
Right.
parking lot would need to be
It's
paved.
gonna be, first he ain't gonna be running in and out of there with a bunch of traffic.
Yeah, you're not saying that in a year it needs to be paved regardless, you're just saying if it's used for business
Unless he
purposes.
decides to go back to work.
All right.
Okay, any other questions from board members or comments? Are we ready for a motion? Do I hear a motion?
Okay, let's get it straight to, Roger, we're just approving the site plan now. Do we want to go beyond that and approve the
Yeah, the building's pretty straightforward.
building
Yeah.
presentation also as is? So in other words, this would be site plan and
You could go through the final.
final plan.
Yeah. So that way they can get started.
Okay.
I mean, the building needs much to it.
In that case, I will make a motion to approve the site plan and building plan as
As
presented,
presented
with the stipulations that were
That
discussed.
were discussed.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to accept the site plan and the building plan as presented with the stipulations as discussed. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, good luck.
Do you have room for another boat?
Well, I probably can make them, but not just got parked on the street. Right?
Now that you're going to have a building, but might want to use it.
What about a permit, Roger?
Huh?
I can pick that up sometime, or? Anything for that?
Well, we got most as far as the site plan. That's everything that's
Yeah,
been
the
done.
paperwork probably.
I mean, the big thing, Kevin, is you probably need to get together with Jeremy,
Right, well,
Dan, and
And then...
Berlin, and just make sure you guys are all on the same page.
the sewer thing is going to be
Yeah.
a determining factor, quite honestly.
And signing an agreement with the neighbor there if you get
Right.
that worked in.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So, an existing property like Essential Needs on the corner, who doesn't have sidewalks, will they eventually have to put sidewalks in as well? And
Well,
will they have to pave that stoned area?
Well, they're paved in the front, and they just added that back parking lot for employee parking.
I see.
She said the front's paved.
Well, it used to be Beautiful Savior Church.
No, that's what they call it.
The church is up here.
Yeah.
It's on down.
Yeah, this is-
Yeah.
What is it? Place that does...
It's they do nails and they do massages and things like that.
Danny.
Okay, that used, yeah, I got you now.
Used to be Dr. Barron's.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that, when that was developed, whenever that started,
Yep.
that was, hell, that was in there, I think.
My understanding, you told him if and when the neighborhood goes into the paving, he would have to be involved. Well, that's gonna, you guys, that way you ended up with him?
With, Kevin here?
Yeah, when the rest of them start their paving and
Well, you're kind of left
sidewalks.
with him if he ever sells that and gets it out of his own personal use and it becomes a business to somebody else, then that needs paved.
Yeah,
That's the way that we make
And
it.
sidewalks. What we said is when it becomes a development, when he develops it, for right now, he's just gonna have a storage unit back there. But if that thing, if they ever came and said, we'd like to develop this, we'd like to, make it a business. But
I'd still have him put the sidewalks in, regardless if it's in the middle of nowhere. Eventually, that other lot to the west is
It's
going to
gonna
sell,
be-
and they're going to be connected.
in Central Needs,
People
you know,
walk into the bank
Yeah.
and, everything else down there, the way people walk around. They just need sidewalks.
Could I just make two comments, please? First of all, we have no knowledge that he talked to Dwight, and Dwight never communicated to us. We told him that,
I'm just saying he's required to do landscaping is required to, under the city code.
By city code.
right.
and as far as the sewer tap, Jeremy and Dan both were very adamant against tapping into...
If they don't approve it, then the approval of the plan commission doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, he needs the approval of the department heads.
That's why I said that's the
Under
most
our
critical, that he needs to
Yeah.
get together with them right away. And I probably wouldn't issue a permit until that's been resolved.
If he does have an agreement with Essential Needs, we'll need a copy of that and have it
Yep.
recorded.
It needs to be an easement agreement that's recorded.
Okay.
And he understands that.
I think so.
I just want to skip some steps.
Yep.
Okay, any other old business?
Have you been out by the new Verizon building lately?
Yeah.
They were paving the parking lot today.
Were they? They're moving along quite rapidly with
That's
that.
gonna be an improvement, especially if they do the landscaping like they said.
Yeah, they've already planted shrubs.
I
Yeah,
gotta see
he's got a lot of landscaping done.
And Pizza Hut's moving along rather rapidly?
I haven't seen much. I drove 13 hours yesterday, got home at night.
Any new business?
We have a meeting scheduled for December the 6th. We have BZA at 4:30. There's two site plan applications for mobile lights and proposed towers. One's out on Ballman and South 13th, the other one's out on Pickaway and Eastbrook.
Middle school, for those communication towers.
Is that, and that's a little different than what they talked to us about some time ago, because they were talking about 4 or 5 locations.
Yeah, they just submitted.
And they weren't as tall.
And they're gonna submit the other ones probably in a couple of months.
Okay.
This is BZA.
Yeah, these are BZA, because they're special use exceptions. Okay, here's, just before you,
Yeah.
here's what the conditions that I just wrote out real quickly. I want to make sure this is satisfactory to you. The site plan approval is subject to the following conditions. Approval of the sewer tap by sewer street and water department heads. Landscaping as required per the city code. Sidewalks to be installed at the time the west half of the lot developed, or west half of the lot is developed, binding upon current and future owners, which should be included in any deed of conveyance. And the parking lot is to be paved if use of the building is for business purposes.
Sounds
Is
good.
that what you had in mind? Okay.
Sounds good.
I'll just give that to you, Sharon, if you want.
Okay, thank you. And then, changing the subject, on December the 6th, we also have Plan Commission at 4:45 for Mark Banning, the Premier Trenchless. He's proposing a 48 by, what was it, 80? Full-type building for,
48 by 80,
yeah, for his grain sale, his seed grain. It's out on Industrial Park.
Industrial Park, Clerk
Street, yeah, towards the west end.
Yeah, Clerk in. So you do have a,
So there's BZA and plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else you brought before the group? Not, I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
If you guys
Okay.
want to read
Oh.
150, 326, and 150, 332 are the specifications for surfacing parking areas and street tree and landscaping requirements applicable to new construction.
So do we have a,
It's by ordinance, it's in there.
do we have a copy of that?
it's in our book.
online. If you go to the city's website,
Okay.
it's under the code book.
Yeah, it's in the code book.
What were those sections?
Section
Down
150,
and they can give them to Ray.
332 is the landscaping one,
Never given one.
and it's 150, 326
Their shortage?
is
Yeah,
the
they're
surfacing of parking.
pretty big.
Oh, you mean I got
Oh,
you.
that,
Yeah, there's just a few. out
Yeah.
there.
so it's just on the city site then?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess, did we, I'm losing my mind here, did we have a motion to adjourn and did we adopt it? I don't think we adopted it yet. Motion was made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made, second to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.